guys to buy low on, not exactly guys who are the best to ever play their sport. They're guys who are struggling at the beginning of the year that show promise to or show, reason to believe that they could be an asset down the road. So Steve, we'll start with you since it's your first show here. Who's the guy you want to buy low on this week?
So my buy low is Mitch Hannigan. And the reason Mitch Hannigan, I was kind of holding out on him for a few weeks. I wanted to see if he fully recovered from the injury, and it looks like he has. And if you remember, before his injury, Mitch Hannigan was a guy people talked about as a late blooming prospect that could be a guy that get you 20 home runs, 20 steals, and a decent batting average. He's batting leadoff for the Seattle Mariners. He's playing every single day. Their offense hasn't been the best, but like I said, it should improve with Kyle Lewis coming back, with Kelenic getting called up, and I think Dylan Moore will bat better than 104 for the rest of the year. Mitch Hannigan, he's setting the table. He's getting on. He can steal. He's shown signs of power. And I don't think people have caught up to him yet. That's why he's my buy low. Because people look at Mitch Hannigan. You could have picked him up in free agency to start the year. I think he was owned in like 28% of leagues. He's now in like 70% of ESPN leagues. So he's still out there in 30% of leagues. But he's also someone, if someone has him, you could offer him maybe like a middling pitcher, like a low reliever, even like one of those utility second basemen, and just see if they would take the deal. And I think Hannigan's a guy you could plug in and not have to worry about for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on Hannigan. I think we talked about him a little bit last week too, as someone that people should be adding. I think he might have been a waiver wire ad candidate last week. So this is definitely a pro Mitch Hannigan podcast. Plus the Mariners offense, like they're good. They have good potential. He's not in the lineup or anything. So I'm all with you there. I'm going to go with a pitcher for my buy low. And the only reason you might not be able to buy low is because of the name brand that goes with him. But find me someone who's off to a worse start than Corey Kluber, at least compared to his expectations. You cannot. Yeah. You really can't. And when I say buy low, I mean buy really, really, really low. You trade a late rotation pitcher for him because someone's sick of him blowing up their ERA.
I think he was dropped in one of my leagues too, and I think so. I think Meerkat actually swooped in and picked him up.
Smart guy. I love Meerkat. Smart guy. The only thing with Kluber that does scare me is because obviously we know he missed most of all of last year except for one inning with that shoulder injury. But I did some digging on it, and it's not as serious as the shoulder injuries that usually derail pitchers' careers. It's not in the labrum or the rotator cuff. It's in the teres major, which is a completely different thing. And there have been a lot of studies about how pitchers respond to coming back from this specific injury. 93% of the time, they come back and perform at the same exact level. The problem is that usually happens within 4 months. And we're obviously going on 9 months with Corey Kluber now, but we don't need him to play at the same level that he used to. We need him to be a reliable starting pitcher for the New York Yankees. And Nick, do you think that that's, as a buy low candidate, is your home bias saying that this is a bad idea? Because I'm interested.
So home bias, from what I've seen, he still has the Corey Kluber stuff. The problem with it is that it's few and far between. Kind of reminds me of Bo Jackson after the hip replacement. You'd see short flashes of greatness, but it was short-lived. So I don't know if that's rust being broken off, which I hope as a Yankees fan. I hope that's the case. Mm-hmm. But if it's not, you might be in for a long season with this guy if he's on your team. The hope is it's just a little bit of rust. He's breaking it off. He's got some good pitches. I've seen some good at-bats that he's thrown against. It's just a little worrisome that he can't keep it together for more than a couple innings.
Yeah, and that's why he's a buy low, not a buy medium, not a buy low medium. It's a low.
Oh, you could get him for a bargain, right?
Yeah, right. He's still 81% rostered on Yahoo, so he's not just available everywhere. I'm shocked he got dropped, like you said. That's incredible that Meerkat was able to get him for free.
You might be able to trade a 12-pack of beers for him at this point.
I would give you this half-drinking Smirnoff Berry Lemonade Seltzer that is the last one of the pack. So I'm very excited to get rid of this one because this is the worst thing I've ever drank in my life. Nick, who's your buy low?
Buy low is actually going to be Anthony DeSclafani. So Anthony DeSclafani is not really a well-known guy. He's obviously pitched on the Reds, had some good starts, But this year, I mean, he's had a little bit of a resurgence so far. He's obviously only had 2 starts. It's a young season still. But great off-speed stuff. I mean, he's got a 40% swing and miss on his sliders and a 47% swing and miss on his curveballs. That's top-tier stuff. Yeah. So, you know, you look at those numbers through 2 games. You say, you know what? This guy's still only owned in maybe 6 to 7% of leagues. He's not in that many. Not on the many rosters, so he's not really worth that much. If he's on a team, you could get him for cheap. If not, you might even be able to grab him. You know, who knows? But his fastball is being helped big time. He obviously doesn't have the greatest fastball. He's running 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Good 2-seam movement.
Yeah.
The breaking stuff is really helping his fastball game. It's really setting the table for that fastball. He's learning how to pitch backwards. And I know we talk about a couple of terms that we talked about, Wake, that maybe not everyone understands. But when you talk about pitching backwards, he could start them off with the breaking stuff to get that set up for his fastball. And that's what he's been doing really well this year. And he's been seeing some results on some strikeouts, which he's not really a strikeout guy, but he's getting a lot of swing and misses. So I would say buy low on DeSclafani. He's looking really good this early on. Doesn't really show signs of stopping either.
I got nothing to argue with you about. I mean, like, buy low, that's a literal low.
Oh, yeah.
If you can get him for free.
Might be below Kluber. He's probably free.
I think we can involve 3 guys that you could get at a very good price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And now selling high, some guys that maybe, you know, you were ready to say farewell to. I'll kick this off because I know I said I'm a Blue Jays guy, but Kevin Biggio, it might be time to say farewell to me. I just really? It's the exit velocity that's really concerning to me. He's never been an exit velocity guy, and it's just gotten lower as his career's gone on. And he's young. I say as his career's gone on, like he's a veteran. Right. In 2019, it was 104.6 miles an hour, and now it's 5th lowest in baseball. So I don't think the home runs are going to be there like someone who drafted him hope they'll be. And so I get it. He's multi-positional. He's second base and third base. So like there's a lot of value with him for a lot of different reasons. It's not like he's a bad player. But I think the value I can get in return is better than 80% of outcomes with him on my roster. And it's no slight to Kevin Biggio. I just not going to repeat what I just said. Yeah. I just think I can get better. And yeah, I know that's a bit weird, but yeah. I'm sorry.
I think what you said has some shock value, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's the underlying numbers. I'm not going to say he's never going to produce, and he hasn't produced. He has produced. He has 2 home runs already. So I just don't know if he's going to continue hitting like a home run a week for, the rest of the MLB season. Right. So, if you're looking for, if someone has that, maybe they're short for middle infielders, they're second base, they're even corner infielders too. Their infield depth as a whole is just shot. That was me last year. I would have bought Kevin Biggio right now. So who I can't remember who did the last one. We'll go back to Nick. Oh yeah, Steve started, so we'll end with Steve. Nick, who's your sell high for right now?
So I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this.
All right. Well, I mean, welcome to my life.
That's right. So we're going to sell high on the ageless wonder, the 40-year-old Nelson Cruz. So this is a guy that obviously he can hit in his sleep, right?
Of course.
Shortened season last year, didn't slow him down, right? Came out on fire, right? Pick up where he left off in 2019, which was a fantastic year. I mean, he's put together second half of his career has been phenomenal. I mean, not that his first half wasn't, but it's just unbelievable what he's done in the twilight of his career. So here's my thought process. A 40-year-old baseball player usually doesn't last very long, right? I mean, there's not many of them that have been around. I think you have your Julio Francos out there that played till they were 46, but he was a pinch hitter. So this guy, you're going to expect him to play 140 games as a DH and hit pretty much every night. He hasn't shown signs of tapering off, but I'm a firm believer that Father Time is going to catch up to him. And hey, maybe I'm wrong, but the ceiling right now that you can get for this guy is very high. I mean, you could sell this guy for quite a bit. He's batting .444. Like I said, no signs showing he's old at all. 40-year-old is old. So at the end of the day,
there you go.
40-year-old Nelson Cruz is my sell high.
For me, it's hard to imagine selling high on a utility player, but if there was ever one to do it for, it is Nelson Cruz. It absolutely is. I had him in the shortened season last year. I think I kept him from the year before too. So I'm a very big Nelson Cruz guy, but I think I'm with you there.
I love me some Nelson Cruz.
And plus, if you sell him too, it frees up so much more. You can do so much more with the utility spot. Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah. All right, Steve, end the buy low, sell high, and then we'll get into the waiver ads, and then we will get out of here.
So I may get attacked by Mets fans for this, but I'm selling high on Marcus Strowman, and he's got 12 scoreless innings to start his season. He's been great, but the underlying numbers just don't support it. And in fantasy baseball, I really look for guys who can get swing and misses, who can give soft contact, who can get the strikeouts. And Strowman only has 6 strikeouts in 12 innings. He's only given up 1 run, but his FIP is 3.97 compared to a 0.75 ERA. That's a big jump. And I look more into it. 50% of balls are hard hit against Strowman. That's not what you want as a pitcher. And I just think he's going to start to get a little more unlucky as the season goes on. And I just don't like holding on to these pitchers that really don't give you strikeouts, because you're basically banking on going 7 innings, getting a quality start, and kind of minimizing walks and hits. Strowman has walked a lot of guys in his career, and his next start is this Sunday at Coors Field. You give up 5-6 runs in Coors Field, next thing you know, your ERA balloons to like 4.5 or higher, and your entire trade value is just gone, because then everyone looks, they're like, oh, his strikeouts per 9 is like 5.5. He's got a bad ERA. Well, right now he's got a 0.75 ERA, and he looks like he's one of the better pitchers. But I just don't think it's there. I like Strowman. I think he's an okay pitcher. You get a lot more for him right now.
Yeah, I'm right. I mean, even when he was with the Blue Jays, like it's like the same story, different year for Marcus Strowman. It always has been.
Yep.
So I think you hit the nail on the head, especially with the underlying numbers there, Steve.